Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. With me, Prof. Radit, and Alhamdulillah, right now I'm with me with a guest from New Zealand, Prof. Christopher Gunn. How are you, Prof?
Well, I'm fine. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, Prof. Before we continue, can you explain your educational background, Prof?
Okay. I did my undergraduate in North Carolina.
US, yeah,
In North Carolina?
North Carolina, US.
Yeah, in the US.
Somehow they don't understand me, but where is North Carolina?
It's in the US and it's in the area of environmental economics and business administration.
Oh, in the bachelor itself is already separate.
Yeah, I do two major,
Environment and
business administration.
business admission. Okay.
And then after that, I decided to do my master at
Directly.
directly at Indiana State in Indiana.
Oh, very good.
And that also, I have a double major in development economic and international trade.
Wow. different with the previous one, right?
Yes. And then after I finished my master, I thought I want to work. But then my professor encouraged me to pursue a PhD. So I went to Louisiana State, in Baton Rouge, close to New Orleans.
Oh, New
And
Orleans.
My PhD is in applied economics, especially microeconomics.
Microeconomics. So, I remember taking course on my master degree. Microeconomics is full of math.
Yes, it is. Basically, the first year is theory. The second year is basically you use maths to talk about economics, nothing else.
I remember when I finished my master, and then some of my friends are continuing PhD in Georgia State University, and I was in Malaysia for my PhD. So I was having a Yahoo Messenger, if you remember.
Yes.
So I was chatting with him, and at that time he was doing assignment on advanced micro take home. So I offer him, okay, give me the question, I'll help you. And then he over me, he told me the questions. So the question is like this: there is a two students. They are going to have an exam. One is study; they do study hard. The other one no study at all. Which one that will be pass the questions? Prove your math.
Yes, that's what you do over there.
Really? That means you need to give a model on the behavior. And you have to have strong math.
Well, when second year when I took a micro course, and when we do the demand, supply, and all those production functions, you have to use maths to prove it.
You start with the indifferent curve, things like
Yes.
that, right?
And
Calculus.
I took a production economic course. It's solely just mathematics.
So what is the lesson learned from this one? If you go to US and taking economics, make sure you are good in math. Am I
Just
right?
One thing too is the PhD program in the US. If you have a very good statistic background, they love to take you. If not, they will put you into a lot of math classes before you can take your theory class.
Okay. Yeah. They have math class before
Yes.
they enter, right? I see. Yeah. Okay, Prof. Today we're going to discuss about the tips for publications. So for those of you who would like to publish, this is a good video for you to watch. So, Prof, um, here normally in Indonesia, PhD students are required to publish, right? So, and for sure, PhD student is doing dissertations. So, how do you see the importance of student doing dissertations and doing publication? Does publication can help the dissertations, or the other way around? The dissertation can help the.
Usually, when you look at someone doing a dissertation, if they don't publish, then they will spend a lot of time trying to understand the mechanics of it because
Okay.
they are not mindset is not on publication. Mindset just focus on dissertation.
Yeah.
But if you learn to publish at the same time when working on your thesis or dissertation, you add values. You enhance your
Right.
understanding of the topic, the problem, the objective, specific research question.
Yeah.
and also understand the literature, how to come about it, and then the data, the methods, and
Yeah.
the result. Especially the result when you write a paper at the conclusion, it's not so much about summary of your finding,
Mm.
the application of your finding
Application of the
is very important. So if you have done that as your journey to your thesis writing,
Mm.
towards the end of your thesis writing, you find that you are able to come up with very good conclusion from your thesis finding.
Yeah, because I remember when I did my PhD in IUM, International Islamic University in Malaysia. I have theory for my dissertations. When I look at one paper, published journal, when I look at the ideas and I look at the data, actually this data I have collected this data for my dissertations. So I use my data for my dissertation, I use for that issues. And alhamdulillah, it's published right now. So I mean, for the PhD students who have collecting quite lengthy, quite comprehensive data, they can use for different ideas and things like that, right? This is not only dissertation, but it's good thing that during your PhD you also can communicate with the lecturers to publish another paper. So how's your experience in
So
college?
today, because publication is so competitive,
Yeah.
every student in the PhD program would like to publish at least 2 papers before they graduate.
Ah.
So there
Is it
are
required by the university or they do by
some are
themselves?
required, but students are motivated to do that because of job market.
I see.
Today, the job market without publication, you probably they will not look at your application. But there are ways of doing this, and there are some students go with what we call the 3 essay route.
3 essay.
Instead of writing a whole dissertation, they break it down into 3 simple essay based on the research question objective. Finish the first essay, get it published, second essay, third essay, and then at the end of the thesis, they will write a very comprehensive, putting the 3 essays together and tell the story.
So that means 3 essay must be related, right?
They are related to each other, but basically it's the same thing. You write a simple, traditional thesis.
I see.
You have 3 questions. Each question is one paper.
Questions. I see.
So as I coach students, when we look at our student objective or question, and usually when the student finish the first question,
Right.
and starting to work on the second question,
Right.
then I tell the student, you might want to think about starting putting this into the paper now. Because you got your findings,
Right.
you got your answers, and you just need to write your conclusion.
Right.
So then after that, we go to second, third. So today is not so much about the supervisor trying to push the student to publish. It's the student that actually push the supervisor because they want to publish.
So that 3 questions can be done simultaneously or subsequently?
It can be done simultaneously or subsequently, depends on the student time period, student data availability, and the complexity of the model.
Right.
The empirical model. Some questions use one big model, but many questions use individual model. That's why you can publish from each question.
Yeah.
So I have a student that working on green finance. Now we are on finish the second question.
First one already published.
First one already under review.
Under review.
And now we finished the second paper based on second question.
Right.
So now she will work on the third question, but this is not essay, but just based on question.
I see.
So that means she will have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. Once she finished the third analysis on the question, because each question is a different model.
Right.
So then after that, she will finish another paper. Then she will sit down, pull the whole thing together in conclusion and so on.
So based on the finding of all those papers, right?
Based on the finding of the research question.
Oh, okay.
The research question
Already
drive the
published,
paper.
which is already
Yes.
published, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, related to that one, this is with regard to the issue of plagiarism, right? Is it happening if there in New Zealand, based on your experience, whereby the dissertation exactly the result is the same with the one which is published? Does it call plagiarism?
No, because this is your own book. Because if there are 2 type publication.
Yeah.
Your thesis is published as a non referee publication.
But it'll be there in the library, right?
Yes, it's
And it is recorded as
non-referee, but it's yours. I mean, you look at all the students I supervise or my colleagues supervise,
Yeah.
their thesis are deposited in the library.
Right.
Then the published paper come from the thesis.
Yeah.
It's the student original work. It's not plagiarism. So there's no ethics problem with that at all.
Sorry?
And it's no ethical issue at all.
I see. Yeah.
Unless you have something that you do is that you publish one paper and you try to publish the paper to another journal.
Oh, two same people.
Yes.
I see.
And then that become a big ethical issue.
Right. Okay, now move to the second questions. When the student finish, let's say the first questions, research paper, questions, with a certain topic, right? How to select the good journal for these issues?
Selecting journal is that you have to first ask yourself, what is your target level? Level 1, level 2, level 3, right?
Oh, for like for the Scopus Q1.
Q2. So in order to select a good journal, you have to make sure that your topics are related to the journal, that the audience who read the journal are familiar with the topics. So if you do climate change,
Right.
today usually the journal you target will be
Environment.
resource economic. There are also specific climate change type of journal out there now today. You don't want to try to publish your climate change in, say, applied economics or economic letters. They might take it, but the audience is not there.
Oh, the audience.
So in order to
Right.
search a very good journal, and you want the audience give you an impact factor.
By citation.
Yes, when you read your paper on climate change, they like it, they will cite it in their work. If you publish your climate change in a regular economic paper, then people who do climate change might ignore that but concentrate on any journal that deal with climate change, mostly environment economic, resource economic, climate change economic, natural resource economic. So in order for a student to choose a very good journal, the first thing you ask yourself is, I have a topic,
Yeah.
who are my audience will read it?
Okay.
And then once you know that and you know the specific area of those journal, then you got to go back to the journal, look at the aim and scope of the journal, whether the journal cater for your topic. Selecting one not necessarily mean you will publish in there. You also got to meet the aim and scope of the journal.
Right.
Because some journals are very mathematical driven. Some journals are very applied driven.
Yeah.
Some are very theoretical driven.
Yeah.
So you cannot just say, I pick one, I go with it. You still got to look at aim and scope of the journal.
Right.
And once you see what the audience of the journal is, then you can start selecting.
Yeah, it reminds me one of my paper which I submitted to Bursa Istanbul. At that time, my paper was qualitative, purely qualitative. And I found out that this Bursa Istanbul, one of a good journal, is a good journal for my paper. So at night, before I slept, I submitted the paper. And the next morning, I checked my handphone, and I got a reply. And then it says, unfortunately, it is rejected. So why so fast? Then I was so curious. So I opened the website and I look at the aim and scope, and it says that this journal is purely quantitative, while the one I submit is qualitative. And that's the reason why
So
it's rejected.
a topic can be quantitative driven, qualitative driven, or a combination of both. So that's why the aim and scope of the journal that you select
Yeah.
is very critical, because even though they do take in topics on, say, climate change, but it could be the topic are more very mathematical, scientific driven, more than social or economic driven, then you have to go for another journal.
How important is to cite the archive of that journal into our journal, into our paper?
Very important in the sense that journal also today play the game. They want their impact factor to go up. They want their ranking to go up. So they do want you to try to at least look into their journal whether there are papers that relevant to your study and cite it. And I have published paper when I send my paper to journal. They always come back to say, this is good in your literature review. We noticed that you did not cite any from this journal.
Yeah.
So they recommend you to do that. And not that you do it for the purpose of doing it, but to do it that in a sense that there are also good paper from that journal. You should cite it. But for the journal itself, their objective is to improve their ranking, the impact factor, and so on.
Yeah. You know, I found I got the experience when you mentioned about when a reviewer suggests us to cite these few journals, and I found the same name, so I thought that this may be the publication of the reviewer. So the reviewer wants to be cited by.
Yes, reviewer today also would like their.
Is it ethical, bro?
Practical, and it's also ethical because why they want the paper to be have
Recognized,
in the ranking and impact factor, but it's just a suggestion, recommendation, not necessarily that we have to do it. When you read a review will come back with the review comments and show you the article, in fact, cite that reference for you.
Yeah.
You pretty much know this is going to be his or her article.
Right.
But the question is it relevant for your study?
Right.
So they don't force you into it. If you write back to the reviewer, say, this is a good study, but it's not my scope. They are not offended, nor they are going to use, it has no impact on you at all.
I thought that if we don't accommodate his suggestion, they will
then
reject our paper.
Then it become an ethical issue.
Okay.
Reviewers are not supposed to force on authors, on their journals, paper, and so on. It's just a recommended. That's it.
So that means, how can we put forward on the ethical issue on that things? Are we going to report to the managing editor?
No. If a reviewer come back to you and force on you,
yes,
then you write to the chief editor and say, look.
Okay.
This reviewer have recommend this journal paper for me.
Yeah.
And I make it clear that this journal paper is out of my scope of my study, so I would not like to cite it and leave it to the editor.
I see.
But in general, most reviewers don't do that because they are very professional.
Right. Okay, Prof. In doing the paper, you've been a reviewer also, right? When you look at the paper that needs your view, method, problem, recent issues, which one is more important for you as a reviewer?
The most important for me is the problem.
Problem
drive the method, drive the review, drive the conclusion. If you're not clear in your problem, you can have wrong methods.
Right.
Because I need to know what is. You go see a doctor. If you don't tell the doctor your problem, the doctor cannot find out the symptom. And cannot cure you. So the most important for any young researcher or every researcher, the first thing is, what is the problem statement?
Right.
If you know your problem statement, then you will know your research question, your research objective. Then you know the bulk of the literature that will support your problem.
Right.
Then you know which is the most appropriate method for your problem. Right. If you don't do that, you by selecting the methods and something else, then drive your problem, then you have a very, what they call, a weak analysis.
Weak analysis.